Hi dear students, welcome back to biology class. Let us continue with chapter 5, that is morphology of flowering plants. In this video, let us discuss about the parts of typical flower. The flower is born on a stalk called pedicel. Okay, so the tip of the pedicel, it has expanded or it has become a cup-like structure, or it has formed into a cup-like structure. Okay, so this expanded tip of the pedicel is known as receptacle or thalamus. Receptacle or thalamus. Okay, so on the thalamus, all the floral orals, that is calyx, then corolla, androecium and gynoecium, they are born. A typical angiospermic flower, it consists of all these four orals, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Okay, so the calyx, it is the outermost oral. Okay, so this calyx, the individual member of the calyx is known as sepals, and such sepals, they combine to form one oral, that is known as calyx. The second oral is corolla. The individual member of the corolla is known as petal. Such petals, you can observe here, you can see here, these three are the petal. This is the longitudinal section of the flower. Okay, so the petals combine to form the second oral, that is called a corolla. Dear students, the calyx and corolla, they are known as non-essential orals because these orals, they do not take part in the process of reproduction, but they perform the secondary functions such as the protection of androecium and gynoecium when they are in bud condition. And in some of the flowers, the corolla is brightly colored. It attracts the insects for the pollination. Okay, so hence the androecium and part of the flower. Okay, so the androecium, it is made up of stamens. In later we will discuss in detail about the androecium and gynoecium. Okay, so androecium is individual member of the androecium is known as the stamen. Here you can see this is a stamen. Okay, and so all these are stamens here. Okay, so in which the male gametes, that is pollen grains, are produced. Then gynoecium, as I said, the gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower. The individual member of the gynoecium, we call them as carpels. Okay, so this image that I have taken it from your textbook. This is the longitudinal section of the flower, and this is the calyx, and these are sepals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the number of sepals varies from flower to flower. These are sepals. Then here is the corolla. The individual member of the corolla is known as petals, and these 5 are petals. And this is the androecium, and the individual member of the androecium is known as stamen, and this is the gynoecium. Here only one carpel is present. In later we will discuss in detail about each orals. Okay, then the androecium and gynoecium, these are known as essential orals because they directly take part in the process of sexual reproduction. As I said, androecium is male reproductive part of the flower in which the pollen grains are produced, and these pollen grains, they carry the male gametes. Okay, gynoecium, it is a female reproductive part of the flower in which the ovules are produced. Okay, so this is the ovary, and in which ovules are produced. In the ovule, there is an embryo sac called female gametophyte, in which the female gamete, that is egg, is produced. Okay, so this is the these are the various parts of typical flower. Now let us discuss in detail about the calyx. As I said, the calyx is the outermost whorl of the flower, and it is made up of the individual member of the calyx is known as sepals, and sepals combine to form the outermost whorl, that is calyx. Usually the calyx, they are green. The sepals they are usually green, leaf-like, okay, and they protect the androecium and gynoecium when they are in bud condition. The interesting point here is, in some of the flowers, the sepals are fused. Look at this. In this flower, this is a calyx here. From here, that is green part of this flower, it is a calyx here. Okay, so in this calyx, the sepals are fused. Okay, when the sepals, they are fused or united, such calyx is known as, that condition is known as gamosepalous. Remember, what is gamosepalous? The sepals are fused in the calyx. Okay, such condition, such sepals, such calyx is known as gamosepalous. The example, the well-known example that you can check it in your garden, if you have grown the hibiscus plant. In the hibiscus flower, the calyx, which is green in color, and the sepals, they are fused. Okay, so example for gamosepalous condition, that is the calyx of hibiscus. Then in some of the flowers, for example rose, you all might have seen the green part of this rose flower, it is calyx. Okay, here sepals are free. You look at this, this is a calyx of the rose. This is one sepal, okay, and this is another sepal, and this is another sepal. Okay, so these sepals, they are free. When the sepals are free, then that condition is known as polysepalous. That condition is known as polysepalous. Example for polysepalous calyx, that is rose. Okay. The second whorl of the flower is corolla. As I said in the previous slide, the corolla is composed of the petals. Okay, and usually the petals, they are brightly colored, as in case of rose, as in case of hibiscus. When the corolla or petals, they are brightly colored, it attracts the insects for pollination. This is very important. That is, when petals, they are brightly colored, what is the function of these petals? They attract the insects for what? For the pollination. Like calyx, in corolla, the petals may be united. You look at this, in this flower, this is the corolla, and these petals, they are united. That condition is known as gamopetalous. What is gamopetalous corolla? The petals are united or fused. Whereas in case of hibiscus and rose, the petals are free. Okay, so that condition is known as polypetalous. Example for polypetalous condition, there is hibiscus. Example for gamopetalous corolla, that is the thura. Okay, and the corolla, the shape and color of the corolla or petals, it vary greatly. The corolla may be tube-like or bell-shaped, funnel or wheel-shaped corolla. It varies. It's because of in different flowers we can find the different types of corolla. In different flowers, the arrangement of sepals and petals in a flower bud, it varies. Okay, so the arrangement of, or the mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in a flower bud with respect to the other members of the same whorl is known as estivation. Dear students, this definition is very important. It's been frequently asked in your theory examination. What is estivation? The mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in a flower bud with respect to other members of the same whorl is known as estivation. Mainly there are 4 types of estivation have been described. The first one is valvate estivation, second one is twisted estivation, third one is imbricate estivation, and fourth one is vexillary estivation. You need to remember the definition and main types of estivation. It can be asked for 3 mark also. Here 1 mark carries for the when you write the definition of estivation, and if you mention the types of estivation, that carries 2 mark. Each type will be allotted half mark. Okay. Now let us discuss in detail about the different types of estivation. Okay. The first one is valvate estivation. What is the valvate estivation? Look at this diagram. This is the arrangement of sepal or petal. Okay. So this is petal 1. This is 2. This is 3, third petal. This is 4th petal. Okay. And this is 5th petal. Okay. So here in valvate estivation, the margin of each petal, they just touch one another, but they do not overlap. Such type of estivation is known as valvate estivation. Where is the petal number 1? Petal or sepal is 1. The margin of this petal just touches the margin of this petal, but there is no overlap. Okay. Such type of estivation is known as valvate estivation. Example, calotropis. ಎಕ್ಕಿ ಗಿಡ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ, ಎಕ್ಕಿ ಗಿಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರೋದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಈ ಕೆಲೋಟ್ರೋಪಿಸ್ ಫ್ಲವರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ವಾಲ್ವೇಟ್ ಎಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ತೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ ದಾಸವಾಳ ಗಿಡವನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆದಿರ್ತೀರ. ದಾಸವಾಳ ಗಿಡದ ಹೂ ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಗ ಹೂವನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರದ್ದು ಕೇಲಿಕ್ಸನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಎಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ವಾಲ್ವೇಟ್ ಎಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. Okay, the second type is twisted estivation. Here name itself suggests that the sepals or petals, they appears like as if they are twisted. This is because the one margin of the sepal or petal is overlapped by the next one. You look at this. This is the sepal number 1. The margin of this sepal is overlapped by this margin of the second sepal, and this margin of the second sepal again it is overlapped by the next margin, and so on. As a result of this, one margin of the sepal or petal is overlapped by the next one, and the other second margin of next margin of the same sepal or petal overlaps the next one. Okay, so as a result of this, it appears like it gives a twisted appearance. You look at this here. If you observe in this view, okay, it appears like as if it is being twisted. This type of estivation is known as twisted estivation. Such type of estivation can be seen in China rose, that is hibiscus flower. The hibiscus flower, when it is in a bud condition, if you observe the petals carefully, try to separate the petals, each margin of each petal, that you will be able to observe the twisted estivation. Okay. Similarly, ladies finger, ಬೆಂಡೆಕಾಯಿ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ, ಬೆಂಡೆಕಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಬೆಂಡೆಕಾಯಿ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಕೂಡ ಕರೋಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ವಿಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಕಾಟನ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್, ಹತ್ತಿ ಗಿಡದ ಹೂವು ಏನು ನೋಡ್ತೀರಿ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಕರೋಲ ಟ್ವಿಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. I hope this point is clear to you. Then third type is imbricate estivation. In imbricate estivation, the margins of sepals or petals overlaps one another, but it is not in a particular direction. You look at this. This is the petal or sepal number 1, petal or sepal number 2, 3, 4 and 5. both the margins of this sepal or petal, they are overlapped by the previous one and overlapped by the next one. As a result of this, the margin of this sepal or petal, they are completely in, whereas the third sepal or petal, it overlaps the previous one and overlaps the next one. Okay, so as a result of this, petal, the margin of this petal, they are completely out, whereas the other three, that is one margin overlaps the previous one and this margin is overlapped by the next one. Here also the one margin is overlapped by the third petal and this margin overlaps the next one. Similarly the fifth petal. Okay, so here the margin of the sepal or petal overlaps one another but not in any particular direction. This type of estivation is known as imbricate estivation. The example, this type of estivation can be seen in cassia and gulmohar. You might have seen in the nature. ನೀವು ಹೊನ್ನಂಬ್ರಿ ತಪ್ಪಲ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇದೊಂದು ಶ್ರಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಳದಿ ಬಣ್ಣದ ಹೂವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರ ಮೊಗ್ಗನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ನೀವು ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಇಂಬ್ರಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಇಂಬ್ರಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದು, ಹೇಗೆ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, ಒಂದು ನೀಡಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ನೀಡಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೈಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಪೆಟಲ್ಸನ್ನು ನೀವು ಮಾರ್ಜಿನ್ಸನ್ನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬನ್ನಿರಿ. ಅವಾಗ ನೀವೇ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏಬಲ್ ಇರ್ತೀರಾ ಯಾವ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, so this is about imbricate estivation and how to observe the imbricate estivation in nature. Then last one is vexillary estivation. This type of estivation can be seen in the members of family Peploniaceae, subfamily Peploniaceae. For example, pea, ವಟಾಣಿ ಗಿಡದ ಹೂವನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಅವರೆಕಾಯಿ ಗಿಡದ ಹೂವನ್ನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಶಂಕು ಪುಷ್ಪಿ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಆ ಫ್ಲವರ್ದು ನೀವು ಪೆಟಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ತೊಗರೆ ಗಿಡ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ತೊಗರಿ ಗಿಡದ್ದು ಪೆಟಲ್ಸನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ವೆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ವೆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ವೆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸ್ಟಿವೇಷನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 5 petals. These petals are named as, the largest petal is known as a standard petal. Okay, so this is a standard petal here. ಇದನ್ನೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಪೆಟಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಈ ಪೆಟಲ್ಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ there are 2 lateral petals are there. These lateral petals are known as wing petals, and the anterior petals, these 2 are anterior petals and these 2 petals are known as keel petals. Okay, so the margins of the standard petal overlaps the margins of 2 wing petals, whereas the other margins of the 2 wing petals overlaps the keel petal. Okay, this is a flower. Here you can see this is a standard petal, these 2 are wing petals and these 2 are keel petals. Okay, so this type of estivation is known as vexillary estivation or Peploniaceous estivation or Peploniaceous corolla. Okay, so this is about vexillary estivation. Dear students, it's very important, this part is very important, that is estivation. Definition can be asked like this, for 1 mark what is estivation, or for 3 mark what is estivation, mention the types of estivation that you have studied, that can be asked, or what is estivation, explain any 2 type of estivation that you have studied. Like this the question can be asked. Okay, thank you.